Yo, guys, what's going on? What a beautiful day it is. What a beautiful day to, listen to some new music and talk to some fun guys. So I hope you're ready for the ride. Are you ready? Because here we fucking go. Cue the intro.
There's a system in place to keep us in chains. By show of hands, who else is sick and tired of the same? 1% trying to keep us small, trying to keep us from getting out. Minimizing the struggles they've caused, saying we're not working hard enough.
We really should stop this fighting. Otherwise, we'll miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we...
And welcome everybody to Suck It. I am the great and powerful King of Kings, Prince of all that is awesome, Derek. How the fuck are you doing today on this what day is it? Friday, May 14th of the year that has been 2021. I hope you guys have enjoyed your week. It is over. Thank God it's over. On to the weekend, on to some fun, and I hope you guys enjoy the shit out of it. For those of you who joined me yesterday for my 200th episode, thank you very much. It was a blast talking to Ashes to Omens. So I hope you guys enjoyed that because those guys are great. Check out again their new single coming out in June. Don't forget to hit them up as well on social media. But Ashes to Omens was yesterday. Today, I have got a band out of California that is putting out a new single as well. However, this single is very, very interesting, and the take on what they're talking about in this single has a nice message. Now the sound isn't like this, but the message behind it is very Rage Against the Machine, very System of a Down, kind of anti-war, anti-government type stuff, but in a sarcastic way, because you know what? That's what these guys do. But also, they also do regular music as well, but this one needed to be heard, and it is a fantastic tune that I hope you guys get to hear. The name of the song is called War Profiteer, and we'll talk more about that and more with the band Joker's Hand. What
Hey
is
Derek,
up,
how's it going?
guys? How you doing?
Good to
Cool.
see you.
What's up, Derek?
Doing good, doing good.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
glad to
excited
hear
have
it.
the song out finally.
I know,
Yeah.
right? And like I said before, it's a good tune too. So I mean, it's good to hear some good music back on the back out there again.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that a lot.
So,
Yeah.
with everything that's been going on, over the last year, but this, the idea behind this song obviously extends beyond that. What was why put this out? What was the inspiration putting out now?
Um, the inspiration for putting out now, I mean, there wasn't really a reason, I guess, for us doing it now. I think it was just our favorite song at the moment. I think that we both really liked how it came out and how it sounded. And the message, I guess, is kind of timeless in a way, because like you said, it extends past the whole COVID thing. I mean, there's always been the whole elite situation going on with pushing war and stuff like that. So I don't know if that made sense. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Hendrix was talking about it in the '60s. I mean, the Beatles were talking about it in the '50s. I mean,
Mhm.
it's timeless. And the thing about it is the fact that and I've talked to tons of other bands about this kind of shit, but the
Mhm.
fact that it's 2021 and we're still singing the same message, and the message that they had in the '60s, '50s, and '70s still reigns true today is fucking ridiculous. We're
Yeah.
still singing about the same stuff, but then at the same time, we could switch out the songs that they did, and it still has the same damn meaning. And yet, we're sitting here, trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong with this country. We don't know. And all we're doing is sitting there arguing with our, neighbors and making shit even worse. We're in the middle, in my opinion, of a verbal civil war that we just can't get out of. And people are profiting off of it like ridiculously. It's fucking stupid. It really is.
Yeah, definitely is. It's funny too that how you mentioned, songs from like the Beatles and Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that, how they, it was written 50 years ago, but it's still super relevant today. Like lately, so Matt and I, the two live shows actually that we had this year were at AAPI rallies. That was the first time we played live since March of 2020, right, Matt?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And like, so at those rallies, we were covering the Beatles song Come Together. And we would always open it up by saying, this is a song that was written over 50 years ago, but the message is still just as relevant today as it was then. And even with these rallies, man, it's crazy because, what's happening right now against the AAPI community is pretty reminiscent to like what Matt and I grew up seeing, because we were born in 96. So we grew up during the post 9/11 era. So, we were really familiar seeing Middle Eastern people get, looked down upon or attacked racially after that happened. And now it seems to have shifted onto the Asian community.
Yeah, which, I was going to bring up, but I'm glad you brought it up now because it's ridiculous. And it was all started by one fucking man. One man we were supposed to be, even though, the majority of us didn't, but the one man that we were supposed to be looking up to is our protector, you know what I'm saying? And all he did was cause this shit. It's absolutely asinine, especially, he was doing this shit right in the middle and right in the height of all BLM. So it's like, okay, we're not gonna, shit on the black people anymore. No. Let's go ahead and shit on the Asians. Because, they're the ones that gave us this virus, fucking bat-eating motherfuckers gave us the, and the thing, it's horrible. It really is. So he caused more racism and more divide in a country he was supposed to fucking be protecting. But the thing about it is the majority of the Asians that are here were fucking born here.
Yeah. Like it really doesn't make any sense when you put it that way.
And then on top of that, if you really want to get into semantics, and this is the comedian in me, there's more than one, country in Asia. We all don't, y'all don't look alike. So it's like, oh, they all look Chinese. No, I'm Korean. No, I'm Filipino.
Yeah.
No, I'm, no, you're not. You're fucking Chinese. It's one of those fucking things that stupid white people do. It's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, it's like India is also part of Asia. It's like, yeah. It's just a weird. It's weird how people like to just say blanket statements that apply to an entire group of people, but they're not all. I don't know. It's just weird how people do that.
Parts of the old USSR are fucking part of Asia.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, like Kazakhstan, I think.
Yeah, it's just it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
but again, that's the mentality.
But thank you. Seriously, like, I feel like at a lot of these rallies that we're playing at too, I feel like there's not enough of an emphasis on what you just said. And it's like, I really want to know if things would have gotten this bad had we not had that guy on the world stage for the past 4 years throwing around terms like the China virus and the Kung flu. I mean,
I forgot about that one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense why he did that. It's just riling up the people, and
because he was trying to cause, more hate. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, that's what it was doing. He was trying to cause hate, because when you can cause hate, you can, gather more people in your favor. oh, he's going to be our protector. Look, he's the one only calling this out. He's the one that's saying all this. So we need to make sure that we jump on his bandwagon. And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
He
and it's
thrived
scary
off
how
of
it affected. Yeah, he did. He definitely did. And it's scary how it affected, this community. I'm not as much worried about myself or about, I mean, not that I'm not worried about Matt, but it's not more people our age that I think we're concerned about, because it seems like the people that are getting attacked tend to be, older people, the ones who are the most vulnerable for some reason, just getting attacked in the streets. It's just ugly.
Yeah, and again, it's the same shit that we were dealing with BLM, and the same
Yeah.
shit that we were dealing with 9/11. And
Yeah.
it's really fucking sad. I mean, I have a Middle Eastern last name because my great grandparents migrated here from Syria back in like 1904, I think it was. But that was just on my dad's side. So that's not including what my grandmother's parents, who came from Germany and actually fought in the Civil War. No, they don't care about that. Not the Civil War, I'm sorry, the American Revolutionary War. Or on my mom's side, I had family that, I'm related to the guy who invented Kodak, but we don't talk about that either. Nope. You just have that Middle Eastern last name. And it's stupid because I right after 9/11, I was doing a lot of traveling, and I would always be randomly selected.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, but I look like you're a random white dude. The only thing I fucking share with my fucking Syrian ancestors is this fucking pubic hair beard, and that's about it. But other than that, I'm the white guy with a Middle Eastern last name and dressed like a fucking metalhead. Obviously, he's a terrorist. Let's go ahead and fucking pat him down.
Metalhead, hell yeah.
Yeah, and every time I would do it, it'd always be another Middle Eastern guy, a black guy, and then just some random, whatever, person. And it was like, oh yeah, this isn't fucking coincidence, you pieces of shit.
Completely random.
Man.
Completely. Just go ahead and put this little check mark on there and let people know you might be a terrorist. He's wearing a Slipknot shirt and he has a weird beard. Fuck you.
We all know they love Slipknot.
Everybody loves Slipknot.
But yeah, bringing this whole thing back to War Profiteer. There wasn't really a particular reason that we released it now. I think part of the reason that we're doing it now, to be completely honest, is because things are kind of opening back up where we're living in California, and we can, start kind of promoting it again. We didn't really want to release a whole lot during lockdown because it's like you can't really promote it at all. You can't go and play it live. So it's really, what's the point if because we're still a small band, so it's not like we have a huge following built in. So every time we release something, it's just like, oh, people from all over the globe. No, we gotta go promote it still, and there's no way to do that.
Yeah, but it's funny that you mentioned that. So the thing about it is, War Profiteer could be 100% written straight up about what's his name, the name that shall not be mentioned on my show, straight up, because that's exactly what happened. We had just mentioned that, so it does fit with the times, number one. And now that he's gone, or kind of, it makes sense. But then at the same time, you had said something that kind of goes against what other indie bands have been doing throughout this pandemic, and that's flooding the market with music. Because now it's like, okay, you know what? Avenged Sevenfold's not releasing stuff. Seven Dust isn't releasing stuff. All these big powerhouse metal bands aren't releasing stuff. The big rock bands or even the big punk bands. A few pop artists have, but that's about it. So a lot of the indie bands' mentality have been, hey, let's go ahead and just put this shit out. Get our stuff into rotation into these mixes, and hopefully we'll start getting a following. Therefore, once we can start touring again, we have this built-in fan base because we flooded it with music during the pandemic. But you guys kind of had the opposite thought process. Why?
I'm trying to think of a good reason outside of management. And just like, I don't know, what's your thought on this, Matt?
Yeah, I think the strength of that decision was really rooted in yeah, like the appeal of playing live shows and like having like face-to-face connection with like strangers, people that could become fans, you know, especially like being a band that not a lot of people know or have heard about. I think that's important to get that sort of FaceTime and sort of like person-to-person connection, like in a room, which like you can have something like that with releases, but it's also I feel like um hard to like push that stuff to I guess strangers in a way that's not too scummy, I guess, in a way. That's kind of a harsh way to put it. You know, like playlisting has been a bit focused for us recently as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think yeah, we've taken a lot of time like over the pandemic to like sort of shift some focus towards like say writing or, you know, even just personally like taking a look at our mental health, like seeing how we are in check because, you know, being away from a lot of our family and friends for so long, it's tough. And having it's great to have platforms like Zoom or like Skype or just FaceTime to sort of fill in those gaps.
Yeah,
But I
man, I can't
think,
imagine this without FaceTime or Zoom. Oh my God.
oh yeah,
This whole past year would have been impossible without that.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. And you know, I agree with you guys. At the same time, I disagree because I feel both ways about it. You know, getting out there, absolutely, getting in front of the fans and being able to say, hey, you know, this is what we do. Yeah, you heard us on Spotify or Amazon or iTunes or whatever. Now it's like, hey, here we are. And you know, if you put out a single that you really, really dig, and then you can't fucking tour it or play it live for a year, I get the point. But at the same time, you know, the whole playlisting. I mean, that's how people listen nowadays. I mean, people just aren't into full length albums anymore. They're EP driven, single driven, which sucks. But at the same time, I get it. Because even I, you know, somebody who's 40 years old, who grew up in the tape age and then the CD age and now the, you know, the this age, it's one of those things where it's like I understand, you know, the whole idea of a full length album because I enjoyed it. But then at the same time, there's bands out there who just out there writing singles and then creating an album around those three singles and hoping that the other songs stick. And 9 times out of 10, those fucking songs around those three songs suck. Um, so it's like, why even bother to listen to a full album when I'm just going to listen to the singles anyway? I might find a good song in there of 12, but I doubt it. The only time I ever listen to a full length album anymore is if it's like Coheed and Cambria, you know, doing a concept album because the whole thing tells a damn story. Um, so I get that point, but then at the same time, if you're a powerhouse band like my favorite band, Avenged Sevenfold, um, and then you have, you know, 3 years ago you had to cancel world tour because of vocal issues. Then you don't put anything out for a long time, including during a pandemic, and now you're saying, oh wait, we're not going to be able to do anything again until we can tour, so now it's going to be 4 or 5 years before we hear anything new from a major powerhouse band. It feels like we get abandoned at the same time by these bands. So it's my thought process is all over the place with it, especially again, like you said, mental health. The whole concept of the show is mental health. You know, it's mental health, and where mental health and entertainment meet, and that's the whole idea of the show, especially through music. So for me, someone who thrives on music through you know, trying to deal with my mental health, you know, because I'm bipolar and I have severe anxiety, I suffer from PTSD as well. When I get into my funks, I have my certain songs that I always go to. But eventually, if I listen to those same songs over and over and over and over and over again, they're not going to hit the same. So I need to find something else. But during this time, it's been very, very hard to find something else. Granted, I've talked to you know, I don't even know, 120 some odd bands in the last year of this show, and I have some great songs from them. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I need some other outlets as well, and it's just been really frustrating.
Mm. Yeah, no, I feel that. feel like a lot of like major bands, like we were talking about Avenged Sevenfold, I was surprised too that they hadn't released anything in a while. I mean, it's been a minute, and there's been a good amount of bands like that that are about that size that haven't done that. I feel like with us, it's more just that I think right when the pandemic hit, we felt like we were getting the ball rolling finally, and when everything got canceled, it was like, okay, now we got to kind of reassess, and now we want to try to, I guess, get the ball rolling again now with this new song. But I don't know. I think part of it for me, I've never felt like I'm very suave on the internet, so you know, promoting through just social media is pretty hard, I think. And yeah, I think just just focusing for us, live music has always been a major part of our promotion.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's because we're pretty small at the moment.
Yeah, I completely agree. What were you gonna say? Were you gonna say something?
No, I wasn't. No, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. But like, you know, even if it wasn't something new, even like bands like Lamb of God, who, you know, are from my same state that I live in, Richmond, Virginia, you know, they did a couple songs, you know, where they recorded it each piece at their own home and then put it all together. So it was kind of like a weird concert type thing, and they released. It was stupid. It was the same songs we've heard before, but we got to see them playing inside their house, and you know, each of them had their own thing going on. It was cool. Stuff like that is at least keeps us interested. You know, a band like Machine Head, one of the, you know, biggest metal bands out there, they're doing live streams almost every fucking day on Facebook. We're hearing the same songs over and over and over again. They're doing covers, they're doing this, they're doing that, and it's just, you know, Rob and the bassist. But again, it's something, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm missing from a lot of these other bands. Just something. One of my favorite bands, Ice Nine Kills, a band out of Massachusetts, you know, back in October, did a live stream, but it was a live stream of a show that was done in 2019. But they made a whole horror movie, you know, type interactive thing to go along with it. So you had to buy tickets. It was like a horror movie / concert from a year ago, and it was this whole weird digital experience. That's cool too. I'm not expecting a new album all the time from bands. I get why you don't do it, especially when you're signed to Atlantic Records or BMG or, you know, Capitol or whatever. They want the fucking money. So, you know, you don't fucking make money off of streams anymore unless you're fucking Bad Bunny. But other than that, it's like, so they want the money from the concerts. I get it. But you're forgetting about the fans, and the fans need them.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why. Matt, I feel like we messed up. I feel like we painted a picture like we didn't do anything during the pandemic. We did a few things. We did some live streams. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, I always had the same thought, because, you know, it wasn't just that War Profiteer, this new release, was like the one thing since the world shut down. But yeah, like this whole situation has given us a lot of time and pause to sort of, yeah, again, like rethink where we're at and where we're heading, but also like kind of experiment. You know, as a smaller band, we've got like this opportunity to like do like weird shit just to see what sticks and what works. Like what you mentioned about like these sort of these like quarantine covers of like the band members like recording in their house, like in their bedroom and in the living room, the kitchen, that kind of thing. Those things always were like really fun to me, like especially seeing like sort of the bigger acts doing that kind of thing, like very homegrown. We got to do that with some of the guys we play with live. We did like a cover of Valerie and Pumped Up Kicks. Those were really fun. But yeah,
and we also, I mean, geez, we forgot about a bunch. Jesus, we also put out like this live documentary thing where it was like we played a bunch of songs from our debut EP, and there were also like little bits of interviews or something in between. And then we also put out a cover of The Weeknd's False Alarm, but it's more of like a reimagining rather than a cover. You know, like, you know how like a lot of artists will take a song that's been done and
Oof, the internet's a bit dodgy. Derek, can you hear me?
Oh, there he is. Sorry about that. Oh, there he. Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he goes. Oh no.
Yep. FYI, I will not be editing this out of the broadcast because I think it's funny.
Like, oh, he's gone. He's
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 gone.
lost to the ether.
Um,
But I guess I could sort of tack on what he was. I think what he was going with that.
yeah.
With the false alarm cover we did. It was a Weekend song, reimagined in sort of like a higher energy rock, like kind of borders the punk thing. Like we changed it up in a really interesting way that I think kind of gave it like a Joker's hand kind of flavor to the song, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love reimaginings of songs. So I'm all about that. Because Ronnie Radke of Falling in Reverse has done 2 reimaginings in the last year of songs. One of I'm Not a Vampire, and then The Drug in Me Is You. And they sound completely different than the original songs, which I absolutely love. I love, hearing acoustic covers from bands. But what I love even more is when, you can take a song and completely redo it and make it your
Yeah.
own. That is a beautiful freaking thing. And I've complimented Ronnie on this before, because the thing about it is when you can take a version of your own song and completely redo it, and get out of your own head and say, okay, this is how I did it originally. Let me go ahead and try this again, or whatever the case might be. That takes true talent. But then at the same time, being a band that you want to, play homage to the original artist and still make sure you do them justice, that's when it means a lot, because it means you actually truly care about the music as a whole, and who that artist is as a whole. Because otherwise, you're just basically claiming what you did was better, or oh, it's different so it's better, or they do pop and I do metal, so just screw them, I'm gonna take their song and make it better, or what. No, that's not what it's about. If you can get compliments from that original artist after you completely reimagine their song, good on you. Like, I remember, I don't even know how many years ago it was. It's been a long time, but the band I Prevail covered Taylor Swift's what song was that? Blank Space. They covered
Oh,
Blank Space
really?
by her. Yeah, that was how they actually got known. So they were on one of the albums from when punk goes pop, or when pop goes punk, excuse me.
Right.
And that was
Yeah.
that was like their first, welcome to the world. Here's I Prevail. And they did a really good job with it. And Taylor Swift actually said it was a great freaking song.
Oh, that's cool.
So when you can hear that kind of stuff, it's pretty cool. I would love to be able to hear what you guys did with that. But I knew all the things that you guys were talking about, the things you guys have done and stuff like that. I've looked at it. I was just trying to get you guys to talk about it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I think we're still sort of managing the new experience, new podcast jitters a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, and rightfully so. I mean, it when it's new like this, it's because this is, like you said, before we went, recorded, this was the first time you guys have done this. And it's not easy. I mean, I remember my first episode, it was like whatever it was back in February of last year, completely different premise, and I had a co-host, and it was just him and I just shooting the shit. Nothing like what it is today. I had no idea how to use OBS. I didn't know how to use other platforms. I knew how to do some graphic design, and I knew how to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But then over the last year, I've just kind of, figured it all out. And it's tough. You know, I mean, going up on stage and talking to the fans and playing guitar and writing music and stuff like that, it's completely different than doing an interview and talking about your music and talking about who you are. And because it kind of feels a little selfish in a way sometimes, I get it. But at the same time, you know, the whole idea of my show is to let people know, hey, A, that you exist. So listen to their fucking music. B, you're real people who deal with real world problems, and this is how you deal with them. And then number 3, you know, why should we like you? You know, what about Joker's Hand do we want to love? And, you know, and I'll never ask a question. I hate asking questions. You know, I'll have a conversation and I might ask a question here and there, but I hate asking questions. So the whole idea of what I was doing before was trying to get you guys to talk about the stuff that I know you guys have done. And eventually you guys caught on. So that was cool.
Yeah, sorry, like a little bit slow there, but
no, that's fine because
we got there. We're here.
Yeah, because it got you to where you needed to be. And
Yeah.
that was, you know, talking about the cool stuff that you've done. Because now people were like, oh, they covered a Weekend song. Let me go see if I can find that. Is it out there for people to hear?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's on Spotify, it's on all the streaming platforms, and we also put out a music video on YouTube.
See, there you go. So now they have another
Yeah.
reason to go out and look for you, because
All
now
right,
it's
there you
not
go.
now it's not just about, you know, the war. War Racketeer, War Profiteer. It's about
Mhm.
you guys, and that's what I wanted to be about. Because this is not, you know, when I do these types of episodes, talking to a band that I've never talked to before, it's a spotlight on you and on your music. It's not just about, Earshot Media sent me over a fucking press release for this new single. Let's go ahead and talk about a new single for 20 minutes, and then that's it. No, fuck that. We'll talk about the new release for a couple minutes and at least give it its just due. But who are you? My listeners might not know who you are. Some of them might. But you know what? That's what this whole idea is about. And I'm glad that we were able to do this, because whenever I see a new band, there's Kevin, come on, you know, through my email, it's like, hey, let's go ahead and do this, you know?
Hey guys,
Hey, welcome
sorry,
back.
the internet at my place is terrible. My bad. Oh god.
All good, man.
It's all good. We continue this conversation on without you.
Yeah, we didn't need you, man.
Oh boy.
No, it's okay.
Good to know.
No, but we can go back to what we were talking about, because we can dive into a little bit more. You're talking about that whole reimagining thing.
Right. Yeah.
But that's when you froze. So
Oh, boy.
the idea of reimagining a song is awesome. You know, whether it's your own band's song that you reimagined, like Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse over the last year, doing a lot of that stuff, or if it's a band, you know, you guys reimagining The Weekend. When you guys can do that and get the original song out of your head and come up with something that really makes your own, but still pays tribute and homage to the original artist and the way it was originally written, it's a true, you know, show of skill and show of talent that you guys have. So, you know, and I was trying to, you know, I was saying this to him as well. It's like, I knew all these things that you guys have done outside of just, you know, War Profiteer. And I wanted to get you guys to talk about it. That's why I kept talking about other things people have done. I was like, yeah, well, you know, I wanted you guys to jump in on that. Because like I was just saying to him, the show isn't about the one single. I don't want to talk about the one single for an entire episode. That's boring. It's lame.
Right.
And who knows? Mike might set you up with a bunch more, and all they want to do is talk about the single. That's not who I am. We're gonna talk about, you know, the Asian hate. We're gonna talk about the this and that, and we're gonna talk about everything that revolves around you as a band, because I want my listeners to know who you guys are. Because that's the whole idea. This is not an interview. This is a spotlight on a new artist that lives in California, that hasn't really, you know, broken out yet, and this, you know, could hopefully help along that process. I only get 50,000 downloads per episode, so I'm not gonna, you know, coming on my show is not gonna break you out. But you know what? Of my 50,000 downloads, it might get a couple hundred, and that's something more
That's still
than you
pretty
get.
awesome.
Yeah.
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 So, you know, because this might not be for everybody. Their type of music might not be for everybody. But you know what? It's not about the type of music; it's the people.
Mm.
And you know what? And they might say, hey, you know what? They're cool fucking kids. Let me at least give them a try. Or hey, they're cool fucking guys. Let me go ahead and tell my buddy about them who I know they like that kind of music. So that's what this is all about. It's a spotlight. It's not just, hey, let's talk about War Profiteer. You know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and because I have heard the Weekend thing, it was really cool. And I really wanted you to talk about it, so I'm glad you brought it up. So you know, why that song?
You know, it's a good question because it's like it's not one of his singles. It's not like one of his most popular songs. But there was something about it when I first heard it that I always kind of envisioned just this different way of doing it. I always thought it was a really good song. But there's always certain songs like that where I hear it and then I immediately can think of a different way to do it. I don't know where that comes from. And it's only select songs. It's never most of them. But like that was one that I heard and I was like, oh, I could see there being guitars in this. I could see it being heavier because it had kind of like it had the beat for it. And yeah.
Yeah, and I mentioned this too while you were on hiatus there. You know, bands like I Prevail got their start doing reimaginings. I mean, they covered Taylor Swift's Blank Space seven or 8 years ago, and before they made it big, and it was all because of them covering Taylor Swift. And Taylor Swift after came out and gave an endorsement on that song, which was unreal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, you know, when that kind of stuff happens, it can really change an artist. You know, it's like, oh, because it might be like just a simple Google search for, you know, The Weeknd, and somehow you guys come up on that search. They listen to a cover of this song, and then they're like, oh, let's go check out the other songs. So, you know, covers are underrated in that sense, especially when
Definitely.
it's a reimagined cover, because it really kind of shows, hey, these guys have talent. They didn't just go out there and play everything note for note and karaoke this bitch. No, they made it their own. So, and I thought you really did make it your own, because I listened to both songs. Because I'm not a big Weeknd fan. I'm not a big pop fan. I'm not a big R&B fan. So, you know, I'm strictly the rock world. So I do have my blinders on sometimes, and you know, sometimes that allows me to, that limits what I listen to, and sometimes I miss out on some really great music. I admit that. But at the same time, when it's stuff like this, it allows me to branch out a little bit more, and so I appreciated it because it allows me to appreciate The Weeknd a little bit more. I have a great respect for the guy because I think he's badass. I'm just not a big fan of his music, but that, the way you guys did it, and it made me go back and actually listen to it, I was like, oh, that's really fucking cool. So, my hat's off to you
Nice,
guys.
cool, awesome. I'm really glad you
Yeah,
liked it,
that's
man.
awesome.
Thank you.
So, like you said before, California's starting to open back up. A lot of states are opening back up: Florida, Texas, Mississippi. Virginia's getting ready to open back up here, hopefully completely on June 15th. That's the rumor, at least. So I mean, there's a lot of different things going on. So what are you guys planning, or at least thinking about planning? Because obviously you still can't really plan too much. Yes.
Yeah.
There's been a shit ton of festivals that have been announced in the last couple months. We've got Incarceration, we've got the one in Florida, I can't remember the name of it. Welcome to Rockville. We've got a bunch of different ones that are coming out. And they're all sold out. It's ridiculous. It's sold out like that.
Yeah.
What do you
People
guys
miss live music.
Oh my god.
Yeah, hot commodity for real.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what are you guys looking to do with the rest of this year, especially now that things are starting to open up and we're going to see festivals this year?
Yeah, I mean, there is something that we can't really talk about it. There is something that's going to be happening in September. Other than that, though, like we really, really are looking forward to like doing more live shows and hopefully getting on the road, because we're also going to be putting out an EP over the summer. As War Profiteer being a part of it, and then a few other songs, and we're really looking forward to putting that one out because it's some of them are songs that we've played at live shows before, and two of them are actually songs that were talked about in a this like press release that we just had for War Profiteer. It was on, I think, New Noise magazine, and they talked about these two other songs that we're going to be coming out with, called Devil's Nest and Kibakusha. And those are, Kibakusha is a song in particular that we've been playing at these AAPI rallies. Kibakusha is like it's a Japanese term that means those affected by the bomb. So, you know, everybody that didn't immediately die in the nuclear bombs that hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki in World War II, all those people that were affected by the radiation. I mean, that went for decades beyond the war. You know, people were really affected by it, and it to the point where it was like the Japanese kind of turned on their own countrymen. So the Hibakusha were looked down upon because it was like they didn't want to hire anybody like that because there was a risk that they could just drop dead or fall over or get sick, and people didn't want to have to pay for that. And then it was also, you know, people didn't want Hibakusha in their families because they didn't want a risk of having the children have birth defects or anything like that. So we kind of related that song a lot to what's happening now in, you know, in our own country, where it's countrymen turning on countrymen. It's for, you know, it's different reasons, but the just the whole bigoted sense behind it is it's pretty similar in some aspects. But yeah, that's one song that's going to be on that, and then we're going to hopefully get out on the road and play some more shows, meet some new people, meet some new bands too.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love the fact that you guys have a message. And it's not just, you know, here's 4 songs, and, you know, 4 of these songs, you know, 3 of these songs are just really good groovy beats and with some really cool lyrics, you know, and then here's one that really means something to us. No, it's, you know, so far you've talked about 2 that have real fucking meaning. And that's why, you know, I compared, you know, at least a War Profiteer to the likes of, you know, System of a Down and Rage Against the Machine. Obviously the style of music you guys play is not the same, but it still has that same type of hard hitting, soul smashing type stuff, which is really awesome. And I love that kind of stuff. You know, when especially it talks about real world problems. It's not talking about, you know, oh, I missed the love of my life, or no. It's talking about stuff that affects every single one of us. Whether we realize it or not, it's affecting every single one of us.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not like it's not like we don't have songs also that are like, you know, about the love of my life stuff. Like I don't not everything that we have has a message, but I think it's cool that a good amount of stuff that we have has a message.
It shouldn't, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Absolutely, because then you're going to end up like System of a Down and Rage Against the Machine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
Because politics will get in the way. I mean, you don't. That's just not. Yeah, no, I don't. I don't agree with that type of thing all the time. Absolutely not. Because then again, you know, as much as people love, you know, when System of a Down does a reunion tour, or when Rage did their reunion tour and stuff like that, people flocked to them. But the inner workings of the band suffered a lot because of those messages. And, you know, and then we just get desperate and like, oh, man, I really miss Rage, or I really miss, you know, System, or, you know, now, you know, people are craving Mudvayne and they're doing a reunion tour. Thank God. So it's like, you know, stuff like that. You don't want to ruin the brotherhood that you two share. And you don't want it to come in between y'all. So I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Then so. Sorry, I'm trying to think of what else where to go off of that.
Wherever you want to go, it's fine.
The other, so I did think of something. So you mentioned that you mentioned that the show is kind of about, you know, mental health and all that, and how it's so that second song that I was telling you about, Devil's Nest, is kind of about that in a certain way. It's like So first of all, both of these songs also sonically are super different from War Profiteer. Hibakusha is like a pretty fast punk song, and Devil's Nest is also a pretty heavier punk song. Uh, Devil's Nest opens up with like a 1 minute interlude, and it's a super different sound for us because it just starts off with a single guitar, and it's a cello, I believe, right, Matt?
Yes, a cello.
Yeah. So it's a single guitar, cello, and then my vocals. And the interlude is, to me, very much about mental health. It's about Devil's Nest. The song is about my like a visualization of hell, and the interlude to me is like my own personal hell, and my own personal hell on it. Like I struggle with this a lot. I have a pretty big issue with anxiety, and I think my personal hell would have been never taking a chance. I mean, I struggle a lot of times, putting myself out there, or trying to just be myself, I think. And to me, my own personal hell would have been never trying to do music. Music has always been super therapeutic for me. It's a really good way to connect to other people and to just feel normal, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I mean, the way that Matt and I got started even doing this was, we met randomly. We were assigned to be roommates in our first year in college at UC Santa Cruz. And, 4 years went by, and I was studying film. Matt was studying environmental science. And I don't think either of us really dug what we were studying. And we'd been told our whole lives, you have all this time to figure out what you want to do. You have all the time in the world to figure out what you want to do. And now it's like we're in our 4th year. I still don't know what the fuck I want to do. I don't think Matt knew what he wanted to do either. And we kind of looked at each other and we were like, hey, we both like music, we both have jammed before, why don't we try doing this so that we don't wake up 50 years from now and wonder what could have been. We're still trying to build it up. It's not like we've had a huge amount of success that we can talk about or anything like that, but I think that it's worth the struggle of trying to get through it, to try it, rather than to just say, I'm not going to try it, I'm going to try to do something else. And I don't even know what that other thing would have been. A career that I wouldn't have liked, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So now, we get to dive into something I wanted to discuss based off what you just said. So what you're telling me is that both sets of your parents aren't the typical Asians that wanted you to be a doctor or a nurse.
Interestingly, so sort of. So I'm half. My dad is Japanese and my mom is white. But I did have a very, I'd say we both had a pretty rigid upbringing.
Okay.
Like my household was definitely more on the the Asian side than American, I'd say. And yeah, I was very surprised, honestly. Like I'm still super surprised that they were supportive of this, because growing up, I did not at all think that this was going to be something that I could do ever. And I'm sure the same is with Matt.
Yeah, like for me, both of my parents are Chinese, so I'm full Chinese. So I actually did have what you said, like be a doctor, be a lawyer, make a ton of money, have like a respectable career, right? And yeah, I've heard that all the time, and like going through school, just a lot of expectations to do well, even like just this sort of pressure from like my peers, like the stereotypes of like, oh, you should be good at math, right?
Oh yeah,
it's like,
the math thing is definitely a huge thing.
Yeah. I remember even like feeling like, oh, I'm pretty good at math, and like when it was like 6th grade math, and then it started to get a little more
I never
not my
felt
strongest.
like
early on, like, oh, I can do my times tables. I must be good at this.
Yeah, you must be. Yeah. But no, either way, I mean, it's cool that you guys have supportive parents about what you chose to do now. Especially, basically saying, after 4 years of college, basically saying, nope, I'm not going to pursue this anymore, and just deciding to do something completely different. Especially in the entertainment field, which is some of the most darkest days that you'll ever have, trying to do this. But, coming from somebody who suffers from severe mental health as well, the riskiest bet that you'll ever take in life isn't playing the lottery or betting on black in Vegas. It's betting on yourself. And, for every one success, you're going to have 20 failures. But at the end of the day, that one success means that much more. So, put yourself out there. Never, ever, ever let anyone say no. Because the more you hear no, the more you're going to want to hear yes. So fuck them and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, man. I mean, like what you just mentioned about the ratio is so perfect. I mean, it's like when we send out emails, like the side of work that the Instagram or the social people don't see, right? You send out like 100 emails and you get like 5 responses. That's like what you expect typically.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat because now I've gotten bigger, I've grown, and now I can say I've done 10 million downloads. I'm averaging about between 7 and 900,000 a month, so on and so forth. So it's like, okay, now I can start getting the bigger names, and I send out emails and I send out my promo packet and blah 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 blah. I've gotten responses back from some really big stuff, and I've gotten responses back, non-responses back from even some of the littler bands. It's like, how am I getting a response back from a bigger band but not this guy's? But then at the same time, I also hear you're definitely on our list of interviews. However, we're waiting for new music to come out. It's like, God damn it. I hate that. It's like, I don't want to talk about the new music. I want to talk to the band itself. That's just how this business works. They don't want to, just book shit for the sake of booking shit. So sometimes I got to sit back and go, okay. But yeah, I mean, and that's one thing that people don't see. They know it's a hard business to get into. They know, but the amount of failures that you're going to have really takes a toll. But the more you can come back from those failures and actually learn and grow from them, that's when shit gets real.
Yeah, it's really just all about like how you kind of pick yourself up from that and just keep going.
It's like a real lesson in like resilience in a way, like bouncing back, taking what you suffered from and making something better out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, you guys are just the fucking awesome guys, and I hope this, single and this upcoming EP, and hopefully with this tour you guys are talking about doing, and whatever the fuck you got going on in September that you're not letting anybody talk about, really kind of turns the corner for you guys, because you guys deserve it. And the passion that you guys bring to the table is really comes through with what you're saying. So I wish you guys nothing but the best.
Thanks, Derek.
Thanks, Derek.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been awesome like talking with you.
Hey man, I appreciate it. It's been awesome talking with y'all. So guys at home, the links for everything is in the bio of the YouTube video and obviously of the podcast. So click the links, check these guys out, give them a follow on Instagram or wherever, and listen to the songs. Go watch their videos, do whatever you got to do, but make sure you guys show these guys some love. All right. Got anything left to say, guys? Anything closing words?
One closing word. So when I dropped out. So yeah, this whole past year has been for me. It's been focused on mental health, and I've been seeing a therapist for the first time in my life ever. But I've never actually seen her. It's only been through Zoom. So what happened on this podcast is what my therapist has been seeing week after week of just like, oh, the call's been dropped again. Oops. So
it happens.
It's too normal for me.
It happens. But I'm glad that you're taking the steps to get healthy mentally. That's one of the things that I really advocate for is this right here. So hats off to you, brother. Continue doing what you're doing, and never let mental health or anxiety or anything else stand in your way, because you're here for a reason, and show the fucking world what that is. All right.
Will do.
And that message goes for every single one of y'all too. You know that. But either way, I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us on a Friday edition of Sucker Podcast. We will see you guys on Monday. Stay happy, stay healthy, and as always, stay fucking heavy. We'll see y'all later. Peace.